Oh,
How are
wow.
you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm very well. So I just wanted to say, quite honestly, that you give such an immersive performance as John Finlay. You just lend so much pathos and empathy to the character, especially in your gun testimony. I don't think I'm spoiling anything in court. And then your confrontation with John Cameron Mitchell in a later episode. And then I just thought you evoked so much raw emotion in your scenes. So tell me how you went about playing John.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. That means the world to me. I haven't seen those episodes, so I've only seen up to episode 4. So it's good to know that it's been working out and it looks okay. My approach for John was really stressful to me, to be honest, because I feel like, this is a person who's alive, and I feel like nearly everybody in the world has a relationship with him, whether he's aware of it or not, because of the documentary and because of the time the documentary came out. Um, so for me, it was very important to try and capture the human moments within all his decisions and why he made the decisions he made, and try and put myself into his boots essentially. Yeah, I found it really tough, and I found it it was hard. It was hard work, but I enjoyed it. As an actor, like, I don't want to rock up and do some job that's kind of frivolous and easy. Like, I mean, it's a dream job in terms of trying to play to portray a very complex character, and yeah, it was stressful. I hope that answers your question, but I
Yes.
thoroughly enjoyed the process. I loved it so much, and I would give anything to be able to turn back the clock and do it again just for the experience.
So I'm curious, how would you describe John Finlay?
How would I describe John Finlay? I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know the man. I mean, but
Mm,
based on my kind of like study of him
right.
as an actor, I would say that he's a very gentle soul, and I think he's a person who he's a family man ultimately, and he found a family both in the GW Zoo, and he found a family afterwards, and he has by the looks of it from his social media page, he has a very beautiful family now, and he seems very happy in himself, and he's been through a lot. The man seems to have been through a lot in his life, and he has a lot to say about his own truth, which I think is very important in this whole thing. um, yeah, I would say, I mean, I would hope someday down the line that I'd be able to sit in a bar with him and have a drink with him, and just say, like, thank you for being you, and thank you for, I guess, like, allowing us to portray your life in this way, because it is, I think, we sometimes forget in this whole big story that these are people's lives, and that they've been through a lot, and we're drudging up a lot of pain potentially for them.
Mm,
So I would hope that he would accept it a little bit. We'll see.
mm.
you know
So I know John Cameron Mitchell, he's a very collaborative, very hands on performer, brilliant performer, just like you, of course. So, what was it like working with him, and what were some of your favorite memories of working with him?
Working with John was fantastic. It was lovely. Like, we very early on, myself and John got in touch via FaceTime, and began to talk about our relationship, and just kind of nurtured our relationship as people first before we even got into any character work. And that was very informative about how our working relationship was going to go, which was ultimately great. I think we work in very similar ways. We spark off each other in the scenes in a very similar way. John's great. He's mischievous, and he's a force of nature, and it was lovely to share the space with him, and to be in that position to be able to bounce off him in that way. We had a great time. Like I say, I would give anything to be back there and do it all over again.
So you mentioned the gentleness to the character, and I think we see that especially in the wedding scene. There's so much that you convey in your face, and then there's the scene with Brian Van Holt towards the end, where you also convey so much. So, what were some of your favorite moments to play?
Yeah, some of my favorite moments. What were they? I think the wedding scene was a big deal because it's so iconic.
Mm.
We had the pink shirts on, and we were all there in those positions. And like the wedding, there was like full footage of the wedding that we could watch and really draw on, which was nice. I know ours was a little bit aesthetically different. We changed the position of where they actually got married. We decided to get married outdoors, which was
Mm-hmm.
good. But that was definitely one. I really enjoyed the scenes between myself and Nat Wolff playing Travis.
Yes.
One scene in particular where he's playing with the alligators. I think it's episode 4, maybe it's episode 4. And I don't think this is a spoiler for anybody, but you just get to see the relationship between the two husbands being nurtured in a way that you hadn't before, and you get to see them step into their roles essentially as this man's kind of husband. So that those are some pretty special moments for me, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned that you had seen the first 4 episodes. So what do you think of the show as a viewer?
I love it. I mean, it's great. I want more. I'm like, come on, guys, send me more. I'm in it. I'm in the show. Let me see it. So like, yeah, I loved it. And I watched it with 2 very close friends of mine, who were also in the entertainment industry. So I knew they would have quite an objective view about it. And they were very kind and very, very supportive. I'm blown away, as was I. And I just feel like I think we've made something very special about something very special. I think for me as an artist, and I certainly think for the rest of the guys, we've done our job as far as trying to take as much care as we could to create this story, particularly since it's so important to so many people. I think we did a really good job.
Yes, I agree. So did the show change your perception of Joe and Carole?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely give me more insight into the people. I mean, like because of the Wondery podcast, like I knew a lot more than you would from watching the Netflix documentary, but to see Kate and John do what they did with the roles, it was like, yes, there's elements of this show that are funny, but it's an extremely heavy show in terms of it's really tragic in terms of how these people have gotten into the positions in their lives that they've gotten into. And it's just been an onslaught of event after event after event, and it's really, it gave me a better understanding of the dynamic, not just from one side of the fence, but also from the other, to help me understand the greater relationship between these 2 people and why they have the engines they have and why they run the way they have, for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for the art that you bring into the world. I really appreciate it. Thank you for this. I can't wait for you to see the second half of the show.
Me too. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sam. Have a wonderful day.
Have a lovely day. You too. Bye-bye.